Now we've come to a very important segment that most of our students like. We want to know what is in the chapters. So we want you to just give a rundown, a brief overview of the kind of issues that you tackled in the chapters, maybe in a thematic concern or however structure you want to adopt, so that we can get to know what to expect in the chapters.
Yes, so when I started on this book project, I posed myself a puzzle, and I think that's very often helpful if you want to make progress in how you look at the world and you make a contribution to the literature. So the puzzle for me was how it is that a system which I had argued in my previous work is coded in law, because every capital asset has a legal structure to it, how this system can be so resistant to legal governance, because it always escapes our attempt to rein it in. And that led me to, as I said earlier, to read some of the literature of the early 20th century about the theories about capitalist law and socialist law, because in law we never say that our legal system is capitalist. We just treat it as law, as if it was universal and could not be different. And so I wanted to uncover the features of capitalist law. That was the first thing. In this process, I was thinking about then how is it institutionally that the system reconstitutes itself again and again as a capitalist system. So after World War II, when we put major constraints in place and we limited capital flows and we created, of course, the social welfare state, but also co-determination in companies in Germany, etc., somehow these things became sideshows to a system that established itself again as capitalist. And through my research, I decided that I identified three core features of capitalist law. One is that it empowers individuals and private entities and empowers them through law. The second is that these agents also have access to our consolidated means of coercion. So in the social literature, the state is very often described as the embodiment of the consolidation of the means of coercion. It has a monopoly over power, we very often say. But individuals and entities have access to this power through litigation. You can mobilize this power on your behalf, because if you win a case, the state will enforce it on your behalf. The defendant. And if you know how to use that system, you can advance your own interest. You can also use it to protect yourself against challenges that come from others. So having decentralized access to the means of coercion is critical. So that's the second feature. And the third feature is legal arbitrage, which depicts the fact that all law is inherently incomplete. It can be interpreted in different ways. We also have in every legal system multiple legal system, because we have municipal law, we have state law, and we have federal law, we have international law, we have multiple national legal systems that all interact. And at each interaction, there are frictions that can be exploited through legal arbitrage. We can do it this way or that way. If you have good lawyers who understand a bit about different legal systems, they can basically pick and choose from different legal systems the features they like most and put them together for transactions or entities that their clients want, right? So legal arbitrage is very powerful because it allows them to use law from different jurisdictions to build their own little empires of law. So I devote a chapter to each of these three features. And then I ask myself, can we get out of it? Because I first started with this puzzle, so it always comes back, can we get out of it? And in my first iteration, when I presented my ideas to my faculty, I said, there is no way out. We go back to it again and again. And my colleagues said, you can't write a book like this. You have to find a way out, basically. So I went back to the literature and I looked at how social transformations happen. And so the last two chapters then are devoted to the question is how can we move beyond capitalism, and how can we do this through law? Because once I say capitalism is a legal regime, I have to make the case that we have to somehow transform it internally from within through law. And how can we do this, and what would it take to do so? So here 2 points is, I think changes will have to be incremental. But incremental changes happening in different arenas at the same time can actually be transformative. And there's lots of historical evidence that it has been and might be again. The second is, if there's lots of incremental changes, the question is, what holds it together? Because all these incremental stuff could just fizzle out and not result in anything important. So there I'm making the point, we need a kind of shared idea of what the normative foundations are for these changes, so that we are working in a similar direction. And here I'm invoking the capabilities approach that Amartya Sen and Martha Nussbaum have developed. And just very briefly, it basically says every person has the right to live the life that she or he has reason to value. And this claim is not just a claim against the state as our classic political and civil rights, but it's a claim against anyone, against the world, essentially. And I'm using this to say we have to hold private power to account in a similar way that we hold public power to account, because only then can we ensure that everyone can live the life that they have reason to value. But I'm saying we have to work on this, and there are institutional strategies. I just list a couple of them, but this would require much more work to really think this through. But we need to make sure that we have a common understanding that this is where we want to go. We want to enable every one of us.
Yeah, I want to give you a list of the people that I think are going to greatly benefit from getting access to this book. And I want you to tell me if that's a good target audience.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a good book for lawyers, number one. I think this is going to be a good book for economists, number two. I think this is going to be a good book for historians, for philosophers. I also think it's going to be a good book for institutions, whether it's corporate institutions, financial institutions, and sometimes the general public in some way. But that's my thinking. Is that a good one?
I love that list. I hope that will be realized. I think, also historians. I have a little anecdote for you. I was invited this summer to attend a workshop in Germany where ancient historians who study ancient Greece, Roman history, and the Middle East, they had used my previous book, The Code of Capital, to analyze how capital was coded back then. And for me, this was so wonderful because I had never expected that ancient historians would use a book about capitalism. But they also, by using it and using my conceptual language, opened this world for me to understand. And it's something I'm trying to do also in this book, is to develop kind of a language that we can talk about these very complicated issues together across these disciplinary boundaries. So if you say all of them kind of are addressed by this book, then I feel maybe I made a step in the right direction to get to this point. It's always a huge challenge to do this, but that's what I'm hoping to achieve in my work.
Oh yes. That is why you are here. The reason why you are here is because we could find you in the libraries. We could see that this is a work that is going to be important for us. Thank you so much for making the time. I greatly appreciate this. We're going to do our very level best to disseminate this with a variety of audiences that should greatly benefit from this book. Viewers and listeners, don't forget to follow our Facebook page, our YouTube page. I'm going to paste the details of this book, and I'm also going to paste a link that can direct you to a profile of Dr. Katharina Pistor so that you can see some of the works that she has published. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Nice.